Guys, we got to have a much different type of a conversation here today. Much different. But I think that it's, although different, still very important. First things first, Kwame Brown. Men like you make me proud, sir. Let me tell you exactly why. Now, guys, typically I don't report on situations to give a laundry list and a checklist of exactly what has happened from soup to nuts of different situations and stories and things like that. So I will leave that up to you to go and do the research so you can understand exactly what it is that I'm talking about. But let me go in and let me get active. All right. Over the past 5 or so days or so, there's been a lot of drama spewing between former first round draft pick Kwame Brown. I think he was drafted first round out of high school back in 2001. There's been a lot of conversation going on between him, Stephen A. Smith, Steven Jackson, Matt Barnes, and now the Breakfast Club. Okay. Jamel Hill, I think, was also in it for a little bit. I don't know. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. For this conversation, though, today, I want to focus on what happened between Kwame Brown and the Breakfast Club, because I think for a variety of reasons, it is extremely important for you all to understand the gravity of the situation and what this means, not only for digital media, but for black male image. I think it's fascinating. So we're going to get into this conversation. Mark my words when I say this. This day, this moment in time marks the start or the beginning of the end of corporate syndicated media. This marks the start of the end. Okay. I think what this particular situation has demonstrated is what happens when you control information. Because when you control the information, you control the power. Why? Because you can captivate and encapsulate the minds of the everyday consumer to lead them down a path in a road of whatever it is that you want. One of the most important things I think that has happened in the history of our society today, the advent of the internet, and now the advent of Web 2.0, and the advent of platforms such as YouTube, okay? Because now what has happened is it is decentralized thought, it has decentralized idea, it has taken it out of the hands of the gatekeepers, right? These established media company engines that can create these narratives, right? Through their hypocrisies, through the irony, right? Through the bullshit, can just create and put out all of this information. And at the end of the day, there's not enough competition in the space to drive the appropriate messages forward. And I think ultimately that is a magnificently huge issue. Access to information, access to different platforms that I think YouTube has done an interesting job in helping to bridge that platform. Now, YouTube has its issues, right? But I think any platform, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, that has to deal with the ominous task of managing free speech has their work cut out for them. But I have respect for these platforms that have to manage free speech, because both on the left and on the right, generally there's different talking points, and historically left-leaning talking points, left-leaning organizations, left-leaning corporate entities have gotten the shine. Have absolutely gotten the shine. So with those ideologies, inflicts into the mind of the masses and produces a sort of propaganda to push these ideas forward. Now enter Kwame Brown. So I'm gonna give you guys the cliff notes. I don't understand all the pieces to the puzzle. Kwame Brown has been in an on again, off again internet debate / feud between former teammate Steven Jackson and his podcast co-host Matt Barnes over the past week or so. And that podcast is number 1, number 2 sports podcast, I want to say, in the world. So you have the entity, large platform, speaking ish about this guy who has been bullied and has not said anything over the past 20 years of being labeled these negative terms, inevitably clap back regarding the allegations or whatever it is that they were saying, to paint a picture about who they are as people. Eventually, inevitably, there's a lot of other things that happen in the middle with Sports Center and stuff like that, but enter in the Breakfast Club, okay? Now, I'm not going to play the clip, but Charlamagne, really? You're going to take your platform, one of which, might I add, where you talk about the positive effects of dealing with and coping with anxiety and, past trauma and PTSD, and talk about going to therapy and all of these things that I even talk about on my channel as well, in order to heal the trauma that has been inflicted in a lot of our lives. Utilize your platform to bring up this man's family in order to try to paint the picture that he is a violent black man. Meanwhile, you hop on the bandwagon when someone who shares my same melanation gets gunned down. And a lot of the images that corporate syndicated media portrays regarding the images of black men, no one wants to talk about that. So you stand up when things like that happen. Yet the music that comes out of your radio station that demonstrates the worst forms and kind of those that resemble me, the pure and utter hypocrisy within that is absolutely horrific, might I add. Take time out of your day to paint the violent black man image in the insidious way that you did on Kwame Brown, after this man had not said nothing about you, wanted no smoke with your platform, in the name of bullying, in the name of trying to defend, in the name of, listen, you know what it was like when I was watching that interview? It took me back to high school. It took me back to high school when the bully finds out some information regarding the bullied and then wants to pour gas on a fire. And then when you look at the person who poured the gas, get their hands tied behind their back. I didn't do it. Saying things such as, y'all better leave him alone because I found out this about him. Listen, let me tell you y'all better leave him alone because it was such the weakest move. It was such the weakest. I mean, when you talk about also too throwing stones from glass houses, okay? Because I thought the rebuttal that Kwame did, he rebutted like a man. No anger, no aggression, no talking about committing acts of violence. No, it was a funny roast. It was a funny roast with facts. Some weren't as much facts, and we'll get to that in a quick second. But he called you out. He called you out for the irony. He called you out for the hypocrisy. He called you out for the sheer, flat-out tomfoolery as demonstrated by your platform. Speaking about the black male image is something that I do with on this platform here frequently, okay? And I ask black men that watch this to take accountability for where it is that you are situated within life. But the control of your branding, your image is paramount. And to have platforms to infuse more violent black male stereotypes when there's no evidence of what that is happening, but you tell people to leave him alone because of something that his daddy did, something that his brother did. You're going to enter in private family matters into the ecosystem so people can judge him by people in his family. And let me tell you real quick why so many people are not banging with y'all no more. It's because we all got issues in our family. We all got issues, even you. We all got issues, but how dare you bring up this man's personal family business, private family business in a way to try to continue to bully and defame him. You should be absolutely ashamed of yourself. I heard that you've put in a request to have him on the show. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't think that Kwame should do that. You know what I think? you should go on his platform. Shout out to Kwame Brown, achieving, I want to say, over 100,000 subscribers in the past week or so. He's got way over 1 million views in the past week in the culmination of all of his videos. In order to make that right, I think you should go on his show. I think you should live stream with him to have that conversation. And I think you owe him an incredible apology. All of the other shit that's been going on, all the bickering, the back and forth between the basketball players, I think that, at the end of the day, that needs to work itself out and heal. But what you did to call out personal, private, family matters and attempt to defame deserves the utmost apology, and it deserves the utmost conversation, because it must stop here today. Now, what did I say at the beginning of this? Is that this right here demonstrates the fall of corporate syndicated media. Okay? What is it that I mean by that? Those that have the rock and block others out because they see these sole proprietorships gaining speed, gaining traction, gaining visibility, gaining viability. And y'all are scared. Y'all are scared. Shit, I listened to that interview that Joe Budden did with Kevin Samuels, and he talked about it, and he kind of said it off the cuff like, man, I saw y'all YouTube motherfuckers gaining speed, da-da-da-da-da, and I still, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because it is decentralized now. Thought is decentralized. You no longer have to be caught within a corporate cycle to have a platform, to have an idea that can be spoken to the masses. Now more people have more options, more than ever, to decide who it is that they choose to follow. Okay? Shout out again to Kwame Brown for speaking his truth, for fighting back from the bullies, to demonstrating the pure and utter hypocrisy that exists, to calling people out, to challenging their ideals, and to do it with a smile on his face. I think that it's absolutely fascinating, and I wanted to share a couple of my quick thoughts. Shout out again to Kwame Brown. Keep doing your thing, brother. You represent a lot of is what I talk about. And let me also talk about this as well. I think that is also a life lesson for many men. To be at the pinnacle of your career, essentially, when he was 17, 18 years old, and to have it not materialize into what people thought that it should have been or could have been. By the way, made over $50 million within that time frame. So a lot of people that's talking shit on his life. Where's your $50 million? But I digress. But to take what you say is a bust, even to yourself, you say that, which inevitably is a failure, and to translate that to speaking to the youth is incredible. Here's my prediction. He'll be 10 times more respected and valuable building a podcast, speaking from where he came from, how he got it out the mud, and translating that into where he is today through his humor, through his gift of gab, from his creativity, than he ever would have gotten through the NBA. So keep doing your thing, brother. Ultimately over here, I respect it. All the subscribers over here respect it. We ride it with you. Keep letting your voice be heard. All right. These are the type of stories that need to blossom. Absolutely. Questions, comments, concerns? Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Listen, link down in the description box down below for my Instagram. If you guys want to follow me, I'll be going live up there sometime in the near future. Also, link down in the description box down below to my Patreon. All right, go down there, click on that. Go see all the things that are in store. If you want to get closer to your boy, you want to be involved with my inner circle of all of these awesome, dope people that are working on their purpose in life, increasing their value, you know where to find me. Until next time, YouTube.